Thank you so much for tuning in to the Life of Divine Favor TV show. Today, right here on the set, I will have Mayor Van Johnson. So get ready for an exclusive with our City of Savannah, Georgia's very own Mayor Van Johnson.
Is the life
Divine Favor. Yeah. Divine Favor in the house.
Thank you for watching The Life of Divine Favor. I'm your host, Divine Favor, and today I have with me our mayor here in the City of Savannah, Mayor Van Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yes. So we're just going to have a little conversation today about some of the things that's going on here in Savannah, Georgia, and probably worldwide at this point with some of the subject that we're going to cover. So my first question to you is, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised, and where did you grow up?
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I used to come here every summer. My parents would ship me down here, and I thought this was the hottest place on earth.
Yes, it is.
And knew that I would never come down here to live. And as usual, you know, God also had other plans.
Yes.
Graduated from high school. Was too young really to go away. I was 16 when I graduated.
Yes.
My grandmother was down here. The decision was made for me to come to Savannah State, and that's where my journey started.
Savannah State, okay.
So you can get anywhere from Savannah State.
Oh,
anywhere.
You heard that? Anywhere from Savannah State.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm a Northerner also, born and raised in Washington, D.C., so when I saw that you were from New York originally and ended up here in Savannah, Georgia just as well, and so I was excited about that. So
I love it here.
Well, you know what? Actually,
Savannah will grow on you.
Yeah, it will. It really will. I've been here, it will be 10 years in November. And so we had a 5-year plan, and we kind of got stuck. And so we're still here 10 years later.
But probably had a 4-year plan for me to go to college and get out. But you know, when you look at it, and you look at it comparatively.
Yeah.
The things I wanted to do, I've been able to get that done here.
Yeah.
As you know, the North is, it's a beast.
It is.
They have themselves. I mean, people I know, you know, they work in 3 jobs.
Yeah.
You know, the rent that my nieces pay.
Yeah.
For a 1-bedroom apartment in New York, in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Is 3 times my mortgage here in Savannah.
Yeah, I noticed that the cost of living is way higher.
If you're willing here, you know, I've been able to own a home.
Yes.
And there, people my age are not able to afford a home because unless you're talking about $500,000 out the gate, you know, it's difficult to purchase a home.
Indeed.
In New York City. So
yeah, same way it is in Washington, D.C. area. And they've really changed the D.C. area. When I went home to visit last year, it was like I was a tourist again.
Oh, yeah.
And I was born and raised there, so yeah, I can understand that. Give us a brief history of your journey to the office of Mayor of Savannah, Georgia.
Well, when I look at it now in retrospect, everything kind of added to it. I worked with youth. I worked for the Youth Futures Authority. I worked for Memorial Health. I worked in law enforcement as a Chatham County police officer and a Chatham County Sheriff's deputy. I've worked in human resources for the county. I have worked with neighborhood associations. I've worked with nonprofits. I was on the radio for a while doing a radio talk show on WSOK. I wrote a weekly paper, a weekly column in the Savannah Tribune. And you know, one day the word came, and people asked, "Well, why don't you run?" And like, I'm not going to run for office. And you know, I got challenged.
Okay.
You know, sometimes people will say, you know, when you say things need to change, you know, you need to be the one to change it. And so I ran for office and was able to beat a 3-term incumbent, which does not really happen.
Right. Yeah.
Not being from Savannah. And then I served 16 years on the Savannah City Council. I served as vice chairman of the council, and I served as mayor pro tem of the city. I've served under Mayor Otis Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Anna Jackson, and Mayor Eddie DeLoach. And then to the latter part of last year, I was really concerned that Savannah was moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I felt like Savannah was beholden to too many interests that were not productive for Savannahans.
Right.
I felt that Savannah was becoming too expensive for Savannahans to live.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to run on February 18th, 2019. I announced to run for mayor. And, there was 4 people in the race. I got to the runoff on November the 5th, 2019. And then I beat Mayor DeLoach on December 3rd, 2020. January 1st, I was sworn in as the 67th mayor of the city of Savannah.
Yes.
And on March the 1st was a worldwide pandemic.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So we've been in this now 6 months and 18 days.
Yeah.
And the pandemic has been literally over 4.5 months of that. So most of my administration has been involved in either the pandemic or demonstrations.
Exactly. And that is a challenge in itself. You just got into office and boom, here you go.
I'm like, dang, I mean, why you had to wait till I got up in here? Now y'all want to do this? Why?
Yeah,
dang.
You didn't get to breathe real good.
No.
You didn't get to take that.
I didn't get a chance to kiss Holly no babies.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to do a bunch of stuff
anything.
because everything, literally.
Yeah.
The conventions that come here, the people that come here, the family reunions that come here, a lot of the agenda that we wanted to push, was really sidetracked because now we just focus on keeping people safe
Yes.
and focus on helping our businesses stay viable.
Yes, understood. And I was a big supporter of you when you were running.
Thank you.
That's what I told you. I said I saw the fire that was ready to just, you was ready to take off, before you even got the full election done, and I was like, wow, he's really passionate about what he wants to do for the city of Savannah. And so, I kind of canvassed the neighborhood and helped people get to the polls, and I did all and helped my family members get to the polls.
Thank you very much.
And I said, we got to get him in office because I got a feeling this is going to be a great achievement for the city of Savannah to have someone so passionate about what he does. So that brings us to voter suppression and the black vote. As you see, is going on all over the place in certain cities, certain states. And so if that happens here in Savannah, do you have a plan to address it or steps that you would suggest that we take to keep that from happening here in Savannah?
Well, voting is not a city function.
Right.
It's a county function, so it's Chatham County, but it affects the city of Savannah.
Yes.
We saw during this last election, somebody messed up. We know people were going to the polls, people were unprepared, machines didn't work. It took forever to validate the ballots.
Yes.
They had to recertify them. It was a bunch of confusion. The last thing we need is for people to have to wonder when they vote whether their vote is going to be counted.
Right.
The last thing we need is candidates who have offered themselves to run for office to have doubts of whether the result is the result.
Right.
And so my message has been to our Board of Elections locally and to the Secretary of State, we're pointing fingers back and forth at each other. Just fix it. I mean, I don't care how you fix it. It needs to be fixed.
That's right.
And, it's those types of things that lead to suppression where people say, you know what, I'm not even going to vote anymore. Why bother?
Yeah.
If I'm going to have to wait in line, and then here we have COVID, and now here we have people, before you had to wait in line, now you have to wait in line socially distanced, which means it takes longer.
Right.
It's just very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And it creates a difficult situation. And so people have to feel comfortable. We have a runoff election on April 11th in this city and across this state. And we have November, and people have got to be engaged to vote. They have to be.
Exactly. And I think that so far in our city or within our county, it hasn't been a lot of trouble. I did hear of a few things going on when we had the last election. But nothing as major as some of the other cities and states are dealing with this suppression and how important the black vote is in our community. So that's actually good. That's actually a good thing. So that brings me to the question about restrictions were lifted. We had all the restrictions for the COVID-19, and then you notice that once it was lifted, there was an increase in the crime rate, shootings, missing persons, etc. That's been going on, and that was the original subject that we were going to speak about. So much had happened.
Actually, our crime rate is actually down.
It's down now.
Our violent crime down. Our Part 1 crime is down 20%.
Okay, well that's good.
And in a way, it's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double-edged sword, because on one end of it, you have people staying away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
People are just not in each other's space. But the other side of that is that people's excuses are short. I mean, it's hot, you're mad, you're stuck in the house, you can't turn up or go on vacation or do the things you want to do. Your money is short, you can't get unemployment, people are being laid off, people are getting sick, and so people's fuses are like that.
Yeah.
And so that's what my fear is. Again, during the summer we usually have our busiest time as it relates to homicide specifically.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some, not at the rate that we've had.
Okay.
Our crime still is person to person,
mm-hmm.
but people who know each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's not random crimes. You mess with my drugs, you mess with my woman, you mess with my money.
Okay.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
And what we have to do better as a community is that, if you mess with your drugs, you should have had drugs in the first place.
Exactly.
Mess with your money, file a police report.
Right.
You mess with your woman, go find another woman. Just go out and find somebody else.
Yeah.
In the end, that none of those things are worth risking your life or someone else's life or not.
Exactly.
Because what's up happening is, I shoot you, then your boy is going to come and shoot me.
Retaliate.
And then my boy is going to come shoot.
Back and shoot.
And that's literally
that's what's happening.
When we see certain crimes, we know
mm-hmm.
the streets are going to be hot because we know something's going to happen.
Exactly.
And that's what we've been seeing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's good news actually that it is down, because I don't know. I guess it kind of looked like that for a minute, but
because it's high profile, it just happens.
Yeah.
And we're big enough that we're small enough to have news that we have our own news stations.
Mm-hmm.
That's good in a way, but then it's also because that's all they got to do. So if there's a shooting, we have a shooting today, and then the next day we're gonna talk about the shooting that happened yesterday, and the day after we're gonna talk about the shooting that happened 2 days ago, and so it stays, and so people think, oh wow, things are really really bad. No, the issue I think to me, Savannah is quite safe.
Okay.
If you're not engaging in behavior that is illegal. Now the bad part about that is these shootouts, oftentimes you have people to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been my concern. If you got to beef, somebody's got to beef. We're shooting at each other.
Right.
We're one thing, but the bullet passes you and it hits her.
Yeah.
That's what the issue is.
Yeah, and innocent people are being hurt. You're right.
So we're asking mamas and grandmamas and big mamas.
Yeah.
Get your boys. Get your boys. Talk to them.
That's it.
Not to be in that life.
Exactly. Now that brings me to the next subject.
Sure.
Defunding police. Now, what is your thought on that? Not exactly taking away from them, but what is Savannah, or what are we dealing with defunding police?
Well, we're not going to defund police.
Good.
I mean, people will say defund the police, and they don't often know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Defunding, by definition, means to take funding away from.
Mm-hmm.
We need our police.
We sure do.
Because we don't want, I saw one of these commercials where you call and, they say, I'm sorry if it's a murder, push 1, and the rape, push 2. We'll call you back. No, we need our police.
We sure do.
But I do think that this has created a conversation that we've actually campaigned on about how do we reimagine police. We have militarized police and glamorized police When the reality is that police officers, for the most part, our vast majority of officers who give their lives, who do the best they can, and in the end they just want to go home.
Exactly.
My detail officer, corporal here, at the end of the day, she just want to go home to her grandkids. That's all she wants.
That's it.
Give her best to the service. I think it's unfortunate that we will take incidents that occur and try to spread that against a whole group of people.
Exactly.
People don't really see the many, many great things that police officers do. So all police officers are not bad, but then all black men are not criminals either.
That's it.
And so that's where the intersection of our anger and our action comes from. And this creates for us an opportunity in my mind to really know, and we've been doing some of these things. We used to have what's called Savannah Impact here. This is where we use police officers to help people who are on probation and parole, help them find jobs, give them counseling, give them their social needs, to help them be successful. And it was an extremely successful program. People asked about it across the state, and then and Mayor Deloach's administration defunded it. I want to bring that back.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. No, it was great. I mean, they had work jobs, they taught them work skills, and it was good.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm really interested in doing is that we have police officers that have degrees in things. I want to be able to create a situation where we have officers that have degrees in social work. Let's pay you to go get your master's in social work.
Okay.
So that when we have calls involved in social work, you're a police officer, but you're also a social worker.
Yes.
Or a mental health counselor, or a substance abuse counselor.
Yes.
And so that way we're able to have the skill set that we need. Because if a police officer has the social work and the law enforcement, they understand the skills of both.
Right.
And so it's not about really enforcement of the law as much as it is about also helping people who are having issues.
Yes.
And so I think we could do that and reimagine our police. And I'll just say this, I know you didn't ask, but I commissioned a task force called Savannah Cares, and they are looking to review our police use of force procedures. They started a couple of weeks ago, and they'll be given a community opportunity. If you've had a bad experience, a bad interaction where a police officer did not treat you appropriately, we want to know about that. We want to look at our use of force methods and determine and make sure that what we're doing is in line with things that are decency and right.
Okay.
And so, you'll see some changes. I think one of the changes I'm very insistent on is that, I want us to have a no profanity policy.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I just think that if you're a professional, and we pay our police officers to be professionals, there should be no reason whatsoever a police officer should ever cuss at a citizen.
Wow.
Because again, once you've done that, you have now lost your professional edge. And I think, and I mean, I've been a police officer, I've been cussed at. As an elected official, I get cussed at. I will not return how you treat me because I'm the professional.
That's right.
And so if we have a policy of showing our officers that we need to be respected even when we're not respected.
Right.
We teach verbal judo, we teach de-escalation, we all those things, implicit bias and those types of things to help officers to understand how to de-escalate situations. We need our officers to be thinkers. The tool is not the gun, it's not the mace, or the OC spray, it's not the baton, it's the brain.
That's it.
And we want officers that are going to use their brains.
That's good. That is really excellent. Wow. COVID-19. That's been a really
What's
big...
that? What is COVID-19?
COVID-19. And, my thing is that what's been happening over the last couple of days is unbelievable. And I know you've been speaking
What's been happening over the last couple of days?
With our dear governor and the lawsuit and coming up against the cities that want to mandate wearing masks in public places. And I just think it's absolutely crazy. And for as far as me and my family's concerned, we're going to continue to do it because we stand for Van Johnson. So on the side of your water bottle there, I had these masks made.
Wow.
And the young lady that makes them The young lady that makes them, her name is Sabrina Jones. She's right here in Savannah, and I had her deliver these specially made, and that is yours for you from me, Divine Favor, to my most favorite mayor in the world.
Oh, thank you, Miss Sabrina. I need to figure out where to get these from.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the link on the show, but I'll give you the link today.
Why you don't have one of these on?
Well, look, say Mama only ordered two, one for you and one for me. But I had them made, and I think they're awesome. I think they're really awesome, and this lets us know that we support our mayor and the city and what he's trying to do.
I stand with Van too.
And this is what I was actually going to wear to go. I said, no, let me surprise
you got your queen on
the show. Yeah, I got my Divine Favor mask, you know.
Thank you.
And
thank you,
everything.
Miss Sabrina. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think these are going to be great, and they are only $5.
I'm gonna buy a bunch of them. So
yeah, they are.
Have
only...
her get in contact with me.
I will. So back to the COVID-19, as you can see. Just a briefing, because I know you've been talking about it so much, and you've been on so many different interviews, even worldwide. There, it looks like you're internationally. So here on the Life of Divine Favor, tell us a little bit about what you're expecting in the next phase of things that are going on with COVID-19.
Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, to me, I realize I don't know everything.
Yes.
We follow experts.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it's clear from people who know better.
Yes.
That the way you get in front of COVID-19, New York is a great example of this. That you wear a mask, you social distance, you wash your hands.
That's it.
We know that my mask does not stop it. But my mask, which is why I'm wearing it, on your studio, is to protect you from me. In case I did have it. I don't.
I don't either, but vice versa.
But I care enough about you to wear it so that if I had it, because you could be what's called asymptomatic, have no symptoms,
right, I
could give it to you. And I don't want to leave that in my house,
right,
in your house. So if I have on a mask, a barrier, and you have on a mask that is a barrier, the transmission rate drops.
Yes.
And that's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more of us wearing masks helps us to be able to prevent transmissions.
Yes.
That's it. Our governor wants to strongly encourage masks, but doesn't want to mandate them.
Exactly.
Which doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
He flew around the state saying, oh, this is so important. Do it. Everybody else said, we have 28 states that mandate the use of masks.
Yes.
We have the largest stores, corporations, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, CVS,
Kroger's.
Thank you. These stores that are saying, hey, we're following the science. Alabama, next door to us, to the west, mandates masks. South Carolina to the north of us and Florida to the south of us says, we're not going to mandate them, but we will allow the cities to decide for themselves based on their conditions whether they should or they don't.
Right.
Some do, some don't. But in Georgia, not only did the governor say, no mask, we're going to specifically forbid you from wearing masks. In my mind, and in the eyes of the law, we believe that's overreaching.
Yes.
We don't believe the governor has the right or the legal standing or ability to stop us from protecting our citizens.
That's right.
And we've done so. So therefore, we instituted on July 1st a mandatory emergency declaration for masks in the city of Savannah.
Yes.
And cities followed. The first one that followed was East Point, and then cities like Augusta, Atlanta, Athens, Rome, Fairburn, recently Guyton, Hinesville, cities were following the signs, protecting people safe, so keeping people safe. The mayor of our capital city, Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, decided that the emergency conditions were in her city, that she needed to roll back to closing businesses
Right.
because of being a hotspot.
Exactly.
Our governor decides at 10 o'clock one night, 10 o'clock, I believe Wednesday night,
Yeah, I think it was.
that he's going to issue this order, and he is suing the mayor of Atlanta and the city council. And they weren't even the first to do it. We were the first.
Right.
But he chose to pick on her. Mayor Bottoms has been personally affected by COVID.
Yes, saw that.
She's infected. Her husband has been really sick because of it. And her son is infected. And at a time, in my mind, when we should be fighting COVID-19, at a time when we should be focused on one enemy, we are fighting not only COVID, we only fight our own state.
Right.
To me, that's an amazing waste of resources,
Yes.
a waste of time, a waste of effort, and it's make us look like the laughingstock around the world.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, my position has been that if he wants to sue Savannah for taking care of our citizens, then let's go at it.
Yeah. And you know what? I kind of feel like he's overstepped his authority in a sense with what he's doing, and I'm hoping that eventually this thing will just subside and the lawsuits will be dropped. We'll see what's going to happen.
Well, the funny thing about it, and I have some big news happening next week, huge news for our city. I can't announce it right here. But I know. It's going to be huge. It's huge because we'll be able to get some significant help. We have friends. But the thing about it is that we know that this won't get better until we do better. On yesterday, the governor had a press conference, and all he was sitting there talking about was livelihood of businesses in Georgia football. Man, nobody care about no football, man.
We sure don't.
We try to save our lives.
Exactly.
I mean, if we don't get this under control, then it won't even be Georgia football, but it'll be football anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no Savannah State football, so to me, that's all that was important.
That's right.
This was our year. I mean, if this is our year to actually win, like for real, like a championship. We were the SIC. We were undefeated. I mean, this is our year to go ahead and walk the dog. And, but we all realize that in life, some things are more important.
That's it.
And if you don't have people who are safe and have people who are healthy, nothing else matters.
Exactly, and our health is more important than anything at this point. So, we're winding on down now. What would you like your legacy to be to our city and our state? And it's a two-part question. And what do you want the younger generation to remember about you as mayor of Savannah?
Well, I mean, I'm only 6 months in this game. 6 months.
You got a long ways to go.
Yeah, I want my legacy to be, I want young people to know that I went hard for the SAB. I went hard for the 9-1 Goose. I stood up for the Seaport.
That's right.
I represented. I protected home base. I'm serious. I mean,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I went in.
Yes, you did.
For my city.
Yes, you did.
And I want people to feel strongly enough about Savannah. We can talk about Savannah. We ain't gonna let nobody else talk about Savannah.
That's right.
And the fact is, we know, like any other cities, we have our challenges, we have our issues, but we are Georgia's first city. We're Georgia's first capital. We're Georgia's mother city. We have been here for 287 years.
Wow.
We withstood a little bit of everything, to include the Great Depression, 2 world wars, conflicts, and a flu in 1918. The Great Depression in 1930. The Civil Rights. We have withstood all of that.
All of that.
And so Savannah is not going anywhere. And so I want them to see me as a mayor that cares enough about the city that I'm not going to let anybody inside our city or outside our city damage our city.
All right now. I like
Period.
that.
Pooh.
Yes. Period. as the kids say, the teens say.
As they say.
Yeah. So, do you have any future higher political aspirations for yourself?
No.
So you're not gonna run for governor?
No.
Why
I'm 6 months in for mayor. I mean, look.
not? Now
One thing-
future now.
I don't. I mean, my goal. I don't have aspirations for a second term. To be honest with you.
Really?
One of the lessons I've learned in politics, and somebody told me this years ago, was I have to worry about today. When I was an alderman, I never was concerned about making decisions for a second term. My goal is to get through right now, the rest of this year.
Okay.
Get past COVID-19.
Yes.
Then get through to the following year, third year, fourth year. And once I get there, I decide, you know what? Yeah or nah.
Okay.
I mean, for me, this is hard work. This is not,
It's not
this is no
easy.
walk in the park. No,
Right.
no. And so, for me, I want to do this term. I want to do this term as best I can. I want to leave Savannah better than I found it. And at that time, I'll make a decision whether I feel like I can help. And, if it is, I'll run again. And then beyond that, I mean, I don't think I ever want to be governor. I mean, this is still Georgia. This is still Georgia.
Well.
But, I think at some point, when I finished these 4 years, I would have been in elected service for 20 years,
Yes.
which is older than she is.
Of course. Yes.
So, at some point, I just want to be regular and just go hang out somewhere,
Well, you
at the food somewhere without people looking. That's the man right there. I mean, I just want to turn
Point
off
the finger, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because it is. I mean, you live in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
People can call you. They call you 24 hours a day, and they want you to solve all their problems. And so, for me, I'm grateful that I was chosen in a convincing way to be this city's mayor. It's a high honor, the highest honor of my life, and I'm gonna do the best I can with these 4 years.
Do the best.
Beyond that,
I think you have done a spectacular job.
I got 3.5 years left to go.
It
can all go downhill.
Hey, I don't believe it.
Keep my eyes focused on where I am.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get in trouble, and we know. When people go looking here and they forget the task they were handed to.
Right.
The task that was handed to me was to serve this city and lead. Is it live?
Okay,
It's back. Okay, that's fine.
So we're looking at ourselves in a situation where, we could really be devastated. We know how hard it was. We're worse now than when we had to stay home early on in the year. So could you imagine businesses and stuff closing? Folks have been laying off left and right all over the place. Businesses have been closing down. It's more people say, well, man, shut the city down, shut it down. You don't know what shut the city down means. It means that we're basically saying that people will not be able to pay their bills. People are laid off. And what does that say for our total economy? It puts us in a bad situation.
It does. Yeah. This is a very, very difficult situation worldwide, and it's affecting people all over. And I just never dreamed that something like this pandemic would hit home for me, being that my mom, she lived in Virginia, and I lost her May 18th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I had her in a nursing home in Manassas, Virginia. She contracted it in the nursing home. And I received this horrible call with a positive test, and then 2 days later, and she had no symptoms. She was asymptomatic. She didn't have any fevers, no symptoms, no cough, no nothing. And then all of a sudden, she lost oxygen, and her blood pressure was too low, and she coded twice, all in the same day. And I left her on the ventilators, hoping that there would be improvement. And eventually, it just got worse. And then her brain lost activity. And she was 65. She had just turned 65 on March 20th of this year.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and so I'm like, this whole situation with the COVID-19 thing is just, it's kind of turned my world upside down. I never got to see her again. I didn't get to celebrate her birthday because her birthday was March 20th, so that was the onset of the coronavirus, and so they had shut down the nursing home. You couldn't visit, you couldn't go in or out, and so it just really, really tore me to pieces. But I am, regaining, and I'm trying to make people aware of how real this thing truly is. And didn't even get to be there with her and hold her hand because of the COVID-19. So her passing and me being there for her was all over a Zoom video.
And people don't realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've lost a couple of family members. I've lost several family friends. It's not the same until you've seen how this happens. And being a native New Yorker and knowing that having friends in the funeral industry, knowing that when people die, they die alone. They take them out of a room, and there's no room in the morgue, so they put them in the trucks, refrigerated trucks, and they're out there for literally weeks because funeral homes couldn't bury folks because it was so backed up for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. And, then they have to go get a truck and step over bodies to try to find the body there. I mean, until this is affected, I think in Savannah, our blessing has been we have not been so affected. But the moment you have been really affected, until you have really lost somebody, it doesn't become real to you. Because I've heard people say, "Oh, this is not real."
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man, really? So I saw something online. This guy who said he wasn't wearing a mask until he died. Yeah. So it's like you hate to learn that lesson, but God protects babies and fools.
Yeah, he does. He really does. And so this conversation has been wonderful. I was so very excited to have you here today. It's been a long time coming, months and months and months of planning, and I am so grateful that you took the opportunity to come here on the Life of Divine Favor TV show. And by the way, this morning I signed a contract, so my show is not only going to be social media on YouTube and Facebook, it's going on Point Network, which is through Roku television and all those things. So I'm heading towards cable television. I'm so excited. And it's been 5 years coming. This show has been on the air 5 years this year, and I'm doing everything I can to make it community-wise. I, have people that come to talk about real issues and real things that's going on, and I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here today. God bless you, and God bless the city of Savannah.
Wow, so we are Savannah Strong because we show Savannah love.
That's right.
And see, Savannah, Georgia, the home of the Life of Divine Favor TV show. The home.
Yes.
The home.
That's
not
where
in
it started
Atlanta,
here.
not South Carolina, not in Washington, in Savannah, Georgia.
Yes.
Live.
Yes, right here.
When you blow up, you remember us, all right?
Oh, you know what? It's going to always be Savannah.
Take our call. You'd be like, we don't know him. What's up with that? We don't know
I
him.
would never, you know what? Savannah's
Talk to
been
my
good to me.
publicist. Yeah.
It's been really good to me, even though I was born and raised in the D.C. area, and I do love home. But Savannah is now my second home.
You chose Savannah.
And I chose Savannah. Actually, I think Savannah chose me because I originally came here to record my first album. The studio that my brother was using was here in Savannah, in Liberty City. And that's kind of where it began, and the television show developed, and so on and so on. And now I'm on my third album, and my first book is coming out this year.
And the show is Media Empire is growing. But please, people can follow me also.
Yeah.
Mayor Johnson SAV, Mayor Johnson SAV, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yes.
I have Snapchat, but I don't know how to work it. So
I'm still learning it too.
I don't know. I mean, why make a message if it's going to go away?
Yeah.
Or people will send me a message, and by the time I see it, it's gone away.
Yeah.
I don't get that. So, Mayor Johnson SAV, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Keep up. I do a Friday Night Live every Friday night.
Yeah.
I do a Saturday update every Saturday, and then on Tuesdays we usually do a press briefing.
Yeah.
And so again, big news coming to Savannah this week. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, well, see, too bad he couldn't drop that on the Life of Divine Favor, because then it'll be really extra, right? Extra special, but it's okay. I'll be tuning in to hear this big announcement that's going to be made. And I'm always on there on Friday night, but you got so many people on there, you don't even see poor little me saying anything.
Next week, remind me, I'm going to shout out the Life of Divine Flavor TV show.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, goodness. And thank you guys for watching. God bless you.
Divine favor.